Hey guys, we're back. This time we're going to be taking a look at a Kickstarter prototype for Usurp the King from DPH Games. This one's going to be coming out on Kickstarter, I think, in the next couple of weeks, mid-June here. And it's a game of betrayal and intrigue. Kind of has a Game of Thrones vibe to it for me, where you're trying to bid for support of different members of the court and be the one who controls whoever wins in the end. There's 7 different win conditions that change throughout the course of the game, so it keeps you on your toes and paying attention to the board and what you want to do for your moves in order to have a chance at winning. I will point out that everything here is a Kickstarter prototype, so even the box here is not finalized. All the artwork and components are subject to change. But I do love the box. It kind of looks like a book, and I hope they keep that aspect of it. But we're going to get right in and take a look at this. So the first thing we have here is our manual, and it's got an overview here. You can see the 5 different factions. They have the tokens, there's the court members, the tutorial cards, and then the turn order cards. You have a section on how to use the tutorial deck, how to set things up, and then the how to play. The game split up into 2 phases. The Intrigue Phase, where you'll be playing cards onto the various court members, and then the Rebellion Phase, when you resolve each of the different cards. Every player has the same 10 cards available to them. We'll go over those when we actually get to the cards. And then there's a list of the various victory conditions that are going to come up, and then some special rules on the back. Next thing we have here are the player boards, and these are for each of the different families in the game. They have a quick rundown of the order that you're going to be resolving the cards in and kind of what they do. And on the back, you have a little section that talks about the family as well as the various win conditions. And you're going to do this chart from the top down to resolve. If this win condition applies, then it does. Then you go with that. If not, you go to the next one. If not, you go to the next one, and so on, all the way down. In the case that you're one of the last players up and you have no chance of winning yourself, they have a thing called king making, which basically, if a move you can do will cause someone else to win, each faction has a favor list. You're going to try to make this player win if possible, or this player, and so on. I mean, obviously you want yourself to win, but if not, you have options. So on to our cards. First ones we have here are the tutorial cards. And these are basically to give you an idea of what you want to accomplish. Because there's so many different variables and so many different win conditions, these give you a option. So in this case, you're going to try to win with the usurper. And to do so, you have to disgruntle the other court members. You have to keep the disgruntled court members alive so that they're in the majority. And then you want to keep the usurper alive and under your control. And it gives you clues as to what cards will help you accomplish that. I actually found these more difficult for me. The first couple games I played, I think my first 2 games we used these. And I was so busy trying to make this goal accomplished that I actually found it to make the game more difficult. It's easier to have your list here of the win conditions, reference that, and kind of change your play up on the fly, because having a specific goal might not be feasible depending on the way the game plays out. Now that was just me. You might find that works differently for you. It does give you some focus though, something to try for. So maybe for your first game or so, but I wouldn't use those very often. The next thing we have are the turn order cards, and these are going to be laid out, and I kind of buried myself in here. The turn order cards are going to be laid out by whoever's playing in the middle of the board. And then you're going to use this turn token, and you start on the first player. They're going to play a card. 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 When it gets to the last person, they play 2 cards, and this reverses and then goes back the other way. And then it reverses, and it's going to go back and forth across that until everybody has played 6 cards. So on the first turn, whoever starts is going to play 1. They're also going to be the last person to play. But every other time it gets to the end, you get to play 2 in a row. And the idea is that it keeps no player from having a real advantage as you're going back and forth, so you're getting multiple turns in there. The next thing we have are the court cards, and they are numbered in their order of importance. And the dead one. And depending on the number of players you have, you're going to use a different amount of these. And these are the different personalities that you're going to be trying to control, and they're going to be vying for control of the kingdom. You always have the king. He's going to start here. Then they go counterclockwise. They're going to be placed around the board. Like so. I'm not going to lay them all out, but you get the idea. Depending on the number of players, there's going to be different amounts of them. Each one of them has an icon in the top corner referring to if they are loyal to the king or disgruntled with the king. And starting off, other than the king, they are all going to get one of these tokens that mark them as being disloyal or loyal. And the reason for that is that these are going to change throughout the course of the game. Just our ones that are out there now. I think I have too many out. I think you only use 5 for a smaller game. The next thing we have here are the faction cards, and there are the same 10 cards for every faction. If I can separate them out here. There we go. And then these are the cards you're going to be playing on the various court members throughout the course of the game. So the first one we have here is the Spy. It allows you to move one of any other player's cards. So you can't move one of your own. We have Betrayal, which allows you to move one of your own cards. We have the Guard, who protects the court member from being killed by daggers. There is Poison. There's an antidote for the poison. There's an Agent, who can move themselves plus any one card from their space, though they cannot move poison. You have Conspiracy, which will allow you to flip a loyal member to disgruntle. You have the Dagger. You have a Book. The books allow you to hide another card underneath them, and then when the turn comes to reveal, you reveal what's under the book, and then it takes place. And finally, we have the Bribery. Bribery allows you to take a disgruntled character and flip them over to loyal. And the way the game works is that everybody's going to take turns when their turn comes up in the order, placing these various cards on different characters. So you put the Dagger on the king here. And then I'm just going to draw random cards here. We'll put Poison on the heir. A Dagger on the bastard. Put a Guard on the bastard to save him. And just basically play continues on until everybody's put out 6 cards. Then you're going to resolve the cards in the order that is listed on the card here. So first, if any books were in play, you're going to load them with a face down card. Then your spies allow you to move your cards around. So in this case, we have a spy here, and the spy could move this poison card over to the usurper. Then you're going to work on your agents. We didn't play any. Then go to the daggers. So we have a dagger over here that's unblocked. You flip it over. That would kill the king. He flips over to his dead side. Go around here. We have a dagger on the bastard, but we also have a guard who takes the dagger for him. So those flip over. And then you go through the rest and resolve Betrayal, books, and then finally Poison. And then you have to start checking your win conditions to see who's left. So we look here. If there are 3 disgruntled court members and someone controls the usurper, they would win. Well, in this case, we actually had poison on the usurper, so he would have been dead. And when they die, you remove the token from them. So that doesn't work because he's dead. So let me look at the next one. The king. Well, the king's dead, so that one doesn't work. The next one's on is the heir, which is here. If the above condition's not met, so we're going down. So whoever controls the heir, and if he's loyal, which he is, the person that controls him would be our Quentin player. So they would be the winner. And it's one of those games that the more you play, you start learning the intricacies of what cards to play, where, when to play them. Should you hold your daggers to later in the turn so that people have already spent their guards and might not be able to block it. Things like that. Most of my games have been lower player count as well, 2 or 3 players. I think that the game is a lot more interesting the more players you get. There's also more court members to look into, but at the same time, you have a lot more players being cards being played out that you need to counter. And the way that you control a character too, I kind of skipped over that, is by having the most of your cards. So as you use your cards, they get flipped over and they have your faction's logo on the back. And so in this case, the bastard here has 1 Sylvester and 1 Altem on it, so nobody controls him. But if there were 2, then you would control him. So things like that, you have to keep in mind how many cards you're playing, where, who the current winner is going to be with what's showing. Because as I said, things change. Like you knew with the dagger on the king was going to be dead. So you would go on to the next card. Obviously the usurper is the, here he is, he's already dead. But the usurper is the first win condition. So you look to him first. If you don't see that as a win condition, there's no point in wasting time controlling him. Or if you kill him off, you could go to the next one. And you go down the list and try to figure out where on this you're predicting the win condition to be and who you want to be in control of. And it's just a really cool tactical strategy game. I didn't think I was going to like it at first, but the more I've played it, the more interesting it has gotten. As I said, the more you play, you start learning when and where is the best time to play your various cards to have their best effect. Definitely an interesting game with the right group to play it with. And as I said, I think the larger the game, the more interesting it is going to be. Plays relatively quickly too. You literally play 6 cards and then you tally up the results. So it's a fast, interesting game, and if you're into the theme and into this type of game, I think you're really going to enjoy it. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, it'll be hitting Kickstarter here in the next week or so in mid-June. And if it looks like something you'd be interested in, check it out. I'll put a link down in the description when the campaign begins. But that's going to wrap it up for our look at Usurp the King by DPH Games. As always, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.